Hey everybody, it's your favorite gal pal, Scarlett Syanide, and welcome back to another Scarlett Syanide Sit and Sip. Today we are going to be talking about All Stars 10 season finale. I have an extremely special sit and sip planned for y'all today. I am joined today by my seated and sipping All Stars 10 distinguished panel of co-hosts. Welcome everybody. Hi. Now, of course, don't forget to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. If you want to join us for live watch-alongs, go ahead and click that join button below and you can become a Seated and Sipping member. Now, today I am joined by my extremely lovely panel of co-hosts.
Hi, my name is Andy Whorehal. I'm a drag king from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Tyson Cameron, deliciously here.
Jordan, I'm also here.
It's me, Benjamin Bobby Sunshine, and today I have Chi-Chi filling in for Honey.
Hi, I'm Lucius McQueen. I'm a musician and producer and a baby boy drag king.
All right, y'all, are we ready?
Yeah.
Let's grab our seats and take a sip, and let's get into this All Stars 10 season finale.
Yes.
Woo. It is the lip sync smackdown for the crown. Now, we have everybody that made it through their brackets, of course, minus Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Mistress, which of course was the big shock and upset of last week's episode. Now, we find out at the beginning right away that Kerri is the judge's pick that gets to return from the wild card lottery. I cannot wait, y'all, to talk about what you thought about this tournament. So I want to hear your first thoughts, impressions. How did you think this was going to go?
Like most, I was very glad that it was not Mistress. I mean, we just got rid of her. It would be annoying to just be like, it would feel like bad production, honestly. Like, oops, no, we didn't mean to do that. Let's pull her right back. At the same time, and I will probably I will definitely bring this up again. My concern for any girl who was brought back was that if they win, is that actually going to look bad for them in the future? Mm. So I was concerned about that for Kerri.
So my first impression was that an Uber is much cheaper than an airplane. Of course, it was Kerri picked twice. So I thought that was a little sus on production's pick, but yes, I smelled a production stunt.
All right, we are definitely going to be getting into production stunts.
Very much.
Jordan brought up bad production with the whole balls thing. I agree, because having two balls for Kerri and having one ball for Mistress, first of all, that was... Ross, what are you doing? But the way they set up the episode made you think that it could be Mistress because of how they were like shocked and awed. But I feel like if Mistress would have came back, she would have came back with a vengeance and the girls would have not been having it. So I'm glad it was Kerri. I wish that each judge would have chose a different girl.
Yeah.
But that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see, a lot of the other girls.
Yes.
For us to have two balls with the same name on it, I was kind of disappointed in that.
You know what name I was hoping was on one of them balls?
Which one?
You already know. Denali.
I know. We all got hair gated by hair gated. Okay.
Tyson, it's really cute that you think Ross had anything to do with any decisions. But... yes, agree. It should have been 3 different ones. And I love Kerri. I'm glad to see Kerri get a little more screen time. It would have been nice to see a lot of them get more screen time. And this might be jumping ahead, but the fact that Kerri's role in this was basically just being the narrator of the losers. Why did we not have Nicole Paige Brooks? Like, they could have been literally anything.
Oh, NPB, FAG.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see her back.
Yeah. My last, first thought going into this episode was... I'm just really glad that the Wicked Witch is gone, and I feel like you have to have a villain to watch them fall. Scarlett, I was so happy last episode. That's all I have to say.
I thought of you. I thought of you while we were watching it, and I'm like, I bet Ben is like, I could see you like wringing your hands and just cackling and be like, right?
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, I will also say that I was very relieved. I was very happy that episode right at the beginning when Kerri walks in. I was like a sense of relief. Like I didn't have to. I knew I wasn't going to feel uncomfortable in the episode. And I think Kerri said it best that karma's a bitch. Karma was served, and I was living for it. And I don't know. It's because Mistress just built herself up so much that the fall was just like so heavy. It was just like, yes, please be gone. Which.
So I was also tired of Mistress in the episode before, so I was very happy to see her gone. In fact, Aja actually came to town this week, and she was spilling tea about how that exchange was like 20 minutes long. The one where she touched her hair. And they let it go on and on and on. And I was like, oh my God. Can't believe that.
That's right, because you were literally just with Aja.
Yeah, we partied till like 4 a.m. It was crazy.
Any other fun tea that you feel like you can spill or want to spill?
Yeah, I'll spill it as we get to the little bits of tea. But like, there was a lot of production rigmarole this episode. She was telling us all about it, and like the girls discussed it in the group chat and everything.
I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
It's piping. I cannot wait to get to it. So
now, before we get into production, I'm curious, what did y'all feel about a lip sync SmackDown for the Crown? I know that is something that we've kind of gotten used to seeing, but does anybody have any overall thoughts about this being the format for the finale?
Yeah, so lip syncing is great. That's a big part of drag. Super cool. How much would it suck to do a whole micro season of 3 episodes? You're killing, you're slaying, and then the way the balls drop, you just are like, bye. And then you have to go back and watch everyone else still compete and pretend like you care to be there. I wasn't for it. My husband was mad. We were watching and we're like, well, keep enjoying substances because this is not... my husband and I were having a good night, and that was just what it was.
It was kind of like also a little devastating while going through the tournament, like watching all these like strong queens just get like eliminated. So it just really felt like I don't know, like just like churning out. So it like it was just hard going, seeing all these like really great lip syncs and then somebody having to leave immediately. I feel like I usually have like a week to get over the loss.
I know.
So
just breaking your heart over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Setting them up, knocking them down.
All I have to say on that is Tina Burner was robbed. Thank you.
I saw somewhere online where I think they should have kept up with the points from each bracket and then still did the challenge. I think they should have did 3 more challenges when they all came back together. And the top 3 with the most points should have been the ones that lip sync. I think that would have been a better and more satisfying and delicious.
I think that's such a great point. I know it felt weird to me, and I think a lot of people, that we did this whole season with points, and then it's like, no, points are scrapped. Yeah. I think they really could have used that tool to not have to do a tournament lip sync. I think tournament lip syncs in general seem to be a bit controversial. We keep seeing it over and over again, especially when it comes to that final lip sync, that who we saw with our eyes winning is not who ultimately wins the season. Now, with that being said, Ru has started to add that caveat of the final lip sync and your performance throughout the season, right? But at that point, I kind of feel like, well, then why do the tournament lip sync anyway?
It really killed the momentum of the season. Like, we have this really cool, unique bracket format, and then 2 episodes of just a regular season with regular eliminations. And then the tournament, which I enjoy a tournament of lip syncing, whatever, but I like it when it's just 1 episode to get rid of 1 girl and have somebody win it. Like, that's fine as a regular episode. To determine the entire season felt just really like, oh, we have this cool creative thing, and then we don't know what to do.
I think another way that they could have made the tournament SmackDown lip sync part work is what we've seen them do in the past, is all of those eliminated girls, have them do the lip sync and do, you know how they do like the little $50,000, like she done already had hers as prize. Like, we've literally seen them do that before, and I think that would have felt more satisfying And then, continued on with like challenges to whittle the girls down in a more like organic feeling way. There are so many thoughts and opinions about this circulating online, but I want to talk about some specific ones. And then, of course, if y'all have peeped any or if you have any secret tea over there, Andy, please share with the group. Sharing is caring. Okay, Kerri said it best. She said, I smell a stunt when RuPaul said that they are going to bring back Rate a Queen to determine who falls into the seeded bracket. Also, thanks, Irene, for explaining that, because as I'll just call myself a non-sports loving gay, I had no idea that was called a seeded bracket or if there was a name or how that worked. So overall, the task was pretty simple. The girls were supposed to rate who was their biggest competition down to their least competition. I want to talk about how y'all felt about them bringing back Rate a Queen for this. And also, let's peep some production stunts, because I definitely have some opinions on why I feel they brought this back. But I'm curious to see what y'all say.
To start with some hot Aja tea, she said the girls in their group chat all discussed their Rate a Queen results, and that consequently, it did not reflect the seeded. As we know, Irene is a sports gay who can figure this out. They shared their voting and saw it was a little rigged.
Okay, well then confirm, because I was literally like, from the votes that we saw, and like the girls playing strategy and just doing like, oh, I'm going to put this girl here and this girl down there. How people ended up, especially Lydia being number 2 and everything, no, that's not real. That's fake.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion.
How was Lydia number 2 and Aja number 6? Make it make sense.
Right.
I feel like on season 17, they shared the results with the audience and us. And so why couldn't they do that? Especially in like Untucked. Like Untucked was kind of boring. But so I feel like that's something they should have shared. But since they didn't share, definitely a stunt. It's a Bruin.
So love that. I have a bigger issue with it. They didn't tell them exactly how it was going to be before they voted. So to me, it doesn't even really matter that production changed things, because the queens didn't know how they were actually doing it. Because yes, you're supposed to go from biggest threat to least threat, but some of them, we saw them say out loud that that wasn't what they were doing. So if they were throwing the votes all over the place just to be like, well, fuck you, production, then I do believe that we could get a Lydia in the second, because they are voting for different reasons. Some of them are being fair and some of them are trying to do whatever. But you don't know what that's going to do, because I was sitting over here being like, is it going to be 1 and 2 are against each other and then 3 and 4? Like, we didn't know.
Sure.
So production pissed me off from the get-go of not telling them why they were voting the way they were. It didn't allow them to be strategic. If I know how the bracket's going to fall, then I can choose. Oh, and last thing, Kerri saying she smells a stunt. I screamed at the TV, you're the stunt!
I'm not surprised that they didn't bring back Denali, because Denali would have absolutely complicated things.
I know what a seeded bracket feels like as a sports queen at one time, but it doesn't feel great for like the last person to go against the first person. It's just like, okay, so I'm just like, I'm screwed.
Like usually in a seeded bracket for sports things, there's an upset. Not in this one. In this one, every single girl who is ranked higher won. And I think that smells, I don't know. It smells sus. Yeah.
I think, well, that's a great point. So before, because I want to get to that.
Yes.
I will say, though, that Lucius, I'm really glad that you brought up the point that the whole thing is a stunt. And I think, as much as we can get passionate and talk about this, it's fun to talk about because, ultimately it's a TV show, right? Yeah. So I think that is a good thing to remember. As, we talk about this, everybody talks about this, is that this is a TV show. And at the end of the day, which this wasn't even my answer at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, right, it's a produced television show.
That just reminds me of what you just said, Scarlett. Like that show from Lifetime, Unreal, about how production can manipulate a show. So stunt, yes. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about a few more stunts that, some conspiracy theories surrounding the internet on. Let's talk about Bruno's balls. And the fact that, Andy, as you brought up, we always saw the top-rated queen not only winning the lip sync, but also they were always the person selected for the song choice. and that always resulted in them winning.
The balls had the top rated queen on both of them, because I did see on multiple times that both balls had words on them. Okay. So none of them were blank or anything, but we couldn't read them. And I tried to zoom in and look at it too.
I tried to too. I was like, pause,
exactly.
pause.
So I didn't see anything like shady or suspicious. So I do believe that both balls had the top rated queen in them.
Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly, Tyson, because I was also trying to, but it's cute how we were all doing like this detective work to be like, is this real?
I always watch these shows from a production standpoint. My thing is, if we're going to have a possibility of something happening, I want to see a degree of those things happening. So you have to have one upset. Otherwise, this was completely a waste of my time. There were no upsets.
I am not convinced that at least one time there was a blank ball and whoever was picked. I'm not convinced. I think they definitely did that. I'm coming at this from a production angle, again, as a wrestling fan, because production on this show and production in pro wrestling is very similar in a lot of amusing ways. At the end of the day, no matter what happened, no matter how rigged it seemed, it was rigged because Ru does get to choose.
Let's go ahead and get into these lip syncs. We're going to talk about lip sync number 1, which, as we found out in the seeded bracket, it was our top ranked spot in our last ranked spot. So Ginger and Kerri Colby go against each other, and Ginger chooses the song Disease by Lady Gaga.
Well, I thought that it was underserved by both of them.
Okay.
If I'm being completely honest, just because I love that song, and I watched the Boring Untucked, and it's that as well, because Daya Betty was saying that she really wanted Disease, and I was like, oh my gosh, she would have ate that.
She would have ate Disease.
And so I have a lot of grief over not being able to see that. It's weighing on me. I just don't feel like that was the song for Ginger to pick.
Yeah, I was kind of gagged that Ginger did not pick Raise Your Glass by Pink, because I thought that was like an obvious Ginger pick. I was kind of shook when she picked the Lady Gaga song, because I was like, really? Like, I thought that was kind of pointedly placed clearly for like Daya Betty, but I guess with the way they wanted it to be against Bosco, and they wanted Bosco to win, so they had to have Bosco do burlesque, right? So, although we'll get to that later, that was a great lip sync.
It was never, ever going to happen. But for as much as the last 4 episodes of the season just went meow, I desperately wanted Kerri to send Ginger home and just say F the whole season. Put the whole season in the trash. It doesn't matter. I love Ginger. Proud of Ginger. Loved Ginger from the beginning, more or less. But I was like, let Kerri just send her home and see what happens. As far as the song choice, I do like that we got to see Ginger be like, I'm doing something different for me. And unlike Reba, I feel like this actually was a risk. Mm-hmm. And so I do like that she swung. Mm-hmm. And then she got the song that made sense for her later. So
I knew Ginger was going to win when she got to do, as Jorgeous said, her cross-eyed shit. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of funny to me, too, because they showed Ginger, then they showed Jorgeous singing along, then they showed Ginger doing the cross-eyed shit, and then Jorgeous laughing. So I'm like, cross-eyed shit, clinches it again. Next up is number 2 spot, Lydia, versus number 7 spot, Irene. And they lip-sync to Joyride by Kesha.
I was really upset when Irene slipped, because I was rooting for Irene since the beginning, and I was devastated in that moment, because it felt like it was over. It was such a fierce competition that's like literally one slip and you're done. Although I will say that she did recover nicely. She did a little like backflip thing. I was like, hell yes. I'm like, maybe there's a chance.
Yeah, this is the lip sync that I thought was going to be our staged upset, because I thought Irene was going to beat Lydia in it, because one, Lydia's outfit was like not what I would have chosen for a lip sync Lollapalooza SmackDown for the Crown.
If I was Irene, I would have not been lip syncing right next to Tool on the ground, because I will say, as a drag performer, I have ate shit on Tool many times. My own Tool, other people's Tool, If there's Tool on the floor, that might as well be like black ice. I will say I was also devastated at the fact that she fell.
It would have been an upset in the sense of how they were rated. But to me, Irene winning wouldn't have been an upset as far as performances for the whole season. First of all, biggest redemption, and it's just crazy to win all 3 challenges, and then you come in, whoops, I slipped, and then it's just over for you. So this was the first moment of the episode that I was like, oh, sad. This is going to be hard every time we lose someone because of all the work they put in.
Yeah. Next up, we have Jorgeous, who is rated as number 3, and Aja, who is rated as number 6. Jorgeous gets to pick, and she picks Party Lights by Nicole.
Aja looked insane, but won that lip sync. Won the lip sync.
I think that insane look really detracted from her lip sync a lot. I also think this was a very strategic choice of Jorgeous's to pick a song that Aja couldn't like vogue to as well. So this was like strategy from Jorgeous's part to pick Nicole, I think.
I agree with you on that, Andy, because I remember them talking on Tuck that her reveal was burlesque fans, and so she wanted to do the burlesque song, and so I think she was going from like that nun to like a burlesque kind of thing, and so since she didn't get the song she wanted, that probably did shake her up a little bit, because she couldn't do what she wanted.
Aja's outfit is that I loved it. I love the Mother Superior look, but also make it make sense. Like the reveal should have been like a skimpy nun under that, like a nun with like stockings, or like a reveal to that, just to like make it make sense in the sense.
No, I'm so glad you said that. I completely agree. I did not understand. I was saying to Scarlett when we were watching it, I was like, I guess I'd call that look kind of Mariah Carey that she revealed to. But I just don't understand where that came from, the nun thing. She didn't, like, give me any visual clues to figure it out. So I guess, really must have just had something else planned, and the song must have really thrown Aja, like we'd been saying.
I was expecting maybe just something different underneath the nun look from Aja. I actually kind of liked it. I low-key, I'm like, is she doing like a flying nun thing? Like, is there going to be like all sorts of stuff under there? And that's honestly what I was hoping. I just wish that there could have been more of a story told with the reveal process. And I think that would have just made it pay off regardless of which song that she got. I think Jorgeous was extremely strategic when she picked this song. Jorgeous even said that the lip sync against Aja was the one that she was, I guess, like nervous about or whatever. So personally for me, if I knew that there was going to be like one person that was going to be like my arrival going into this, I would want to make sure I was strong in a song that I didn't think that they would do well at. So I definitely think, as we see during these lip sync tournaments, the song choice literally can make or break who wins this.
How cute would it have been, they would have never done this, if instead of the balls at all, the lower ranked queen got to pick?
Ooh, that would be their advantage of being the lower seated queen. I would have loved that. Next up is probably the lip sync of the whole freaking episode. It was Daya Betty versus her Seattle sissy, Bosco. And Bosco gets to choose the song. No surprise, as we know at this point. And without any shock, Bosco chooses Show Me How to Burlesque.
Wow, what a lip sync. I will say, although Bosco absolutely slayed it, Daya definitely held her own. There was some moments where I was like, wow, like I know that all the cameras are on Bosco, but Daya's really eating. I
was simultaneously aroused and also devastated for Daya because I was like, oh my God, Bosco's doing amazing. And then I was like, oh, Daya's so upset. Like it was a lot of emotions for me watching this lip sync.
This lip sync was like a tragedy. It was like a beautiful tragedy, of like best friends, soulmates against one another. But
it was giving Rujubee.
Rujubee, yes, literally. That's dancing on
dancing on my own.
Yeah.
First of all, heartbroken. Love Daya, and Daya crying at the beginning. I was like, oh my God, I love this moment. I was screaming at the TV, please pull Daya's ball, because we all saw the word burlesque on that screen, and Bosco's great. I wanted Daya to get to pick, and I wanted it to not be burlesque because that was so not fair. And here's the thing that might be really controversial. I think Bosco should have kept that song because that is the only way she would have beat Ginger Minj.
Oh my God.
And if she had known, if Irene could have explained the bracket to her that like, hey, you just need to beat Daya in something, keep your shit on, if you beat Daya, you will go against Ginger immediately. And then hopefully you get the ball, and then you get to pick, and then you win $200,000. It risks you losing to Daya. It risks Ginger getting to pick the ball. Great. You weren't winning any way other than this song to Ginger.
That's real.
The girls were not explained who they were going to be facing afterwards. And I think that is kind of an unfair advantage as well, because there is no sense of planning, I guess, in that sense, because Bosco would have known that she would have been against Ginger, but I don't think that she did know. Yeah. But again, I actually really like your point of like, hey, you have the fan, you have all these reveals, and this lip sync, save the one that you can like really emote later.
Next up is Ginger versus Bosco. Ginger gets to pick, and she chooses Raise Your Glass by Pink. How'd you feel about this, Tyson?
I enjoyed the lip sync. I feel like this is the only song that made sense, and I feel like Ginger should have chosen it first anyway. But I think she might have had a strategy in choosing the songs, but not knowing who the competitor was anyway.
Sure.
Okay, so now that I understand how brackets work, I also think that, so in the first round, I was like, it's weird that Ginger didn't pick Raise Your Glass. Why wouldn't she do that? However, I think she was thinking with her strategy brain, and she's like, well, I don't know what's going to happen with Bosco and Daya. So, like, what if it was Ginger versus Daya? Raise Your Glass would have been a much more obvious Ginger pick versus had she picked Raise Your Glass in the first round, Daya versus Ginger with Disease, like, mama, you would have been eviscerated. So now I think Ginger is slightly sports gay, so she must at least understand.
So I do think this isn't saying much, but I do think this was Ginger's best of her lip syncs this episode.
I'd agree with that.
And I'm sitting here already like, well, we know what's happening, so bye, Bosco.
I don't know how I thought it was truly going to play out up until that point. But I wasn't sure if it was going to be Jorgeous versus Ginger for the final or Bosco versus Ginger for the final. But definitely Bosco was a big possibility for me.
Yeah.
So when we saw the cast list, I figured it was going to be Jorgeous and Ginger because they're the two that have done the most seasons.
Ah.
Yeah, we actually were talking about this on the live last night. Well, Ginger got her win after being there 4 times. So now does that mean Jorgeous has to come back for a 4th time to get her 4th time win? Is now the 4th time win going to be a thing?
And that's a great point because next up are mommy's favorites, Lydia and Jorgeous. And they get stuck with my personal favorite song of the whole bunch, Shakira's Whenever, Wherever.
This was actually my favorite lip sync of the episode because while Bosco ate, that was a burlesque number. That was not a fair lip sync. I was sad for Daya. Daya was crying. It was a whole thing. So I enjoyed that from like an emotional standpoint, but actual lip sync, who I want to give my money to, this was my favorite. I feel like this was the closest of the night, which is exciting because it's Ru's favorites. And it also, I was like, oh, I actually am not sure who's going to win. Before it started, I was like, Jorgeous and Shakira, like, clearly.
Yeah.
But then we get the whole, which I appreciate that we put this in there, Lydia's whole background of how much she loves Shakira. She had a Shakira cake.
Yeah, the birthday cake.
It was cute. So
was
I
really
enjoyed
cute.
this one.
It was a great lip sync.
Okay, big disagree. I thought this was a bloodbath. I thought Jorgeous slayed so hard. I thought she, like, whipped Lydia around like a little ragneck doll. Like, I thought it was so bad. Like, not that Lydia was bad. I think Lydia did well. But I think, again, Lydia's garment was extremely limiting. She used all her reveals in the first round. She had nothing left. And Jorgeous still had a reveal left at the end of this. I think Jorgeous should have left her reveal on to her slutty little outfit on the bottom because I think she was already, in my opinion, wiping the floor with Lydia. And I was like, why are you bringing that out, honey? Like, you've already won this.
Like, so you don't need to do that.
Yeah, you don't need to do all this. Save it for your final lip sync against Ginger.
With all the reveal timing,
Yeah.
I actually think if we're going to, like, go back really quick to Kerri's lip sync, the very first one, I do think it was a mistake that she left her hair up. I think if she would have pulled that hair, then maybe that would have sent Ginger home, and this would be a whole different conversation.
Didn't Aja mention that in confessional too? She's like, honey, what are you doing? You brought all those 40 inches out and you're not doing nothing with them. Like,
no, yeah.
But she did mention that there was an issue with the hair. So I think it was all ratty or something. She didn't comb it out right.
Why are you going to come back and not fix your hair?
And not be ready. Why is your
are you
wig
gonna
ready?
come back and not be ready? And
What
also,
have you been doing?
yes, Aja pointed it out, but again, the editing staff and production chose to get that question from Aja and use that question. Ginger could have stood there and done nothing, and Kerri could have whipped her with her hair and nothing would have changed. But I wanted to see the hair.
All right, y'all. It is time to talk about the big one. The final showdown, lip sync for the crown. It went to Jorgeous and Ginger. They got, honestly, one of my personal favorite songs, like, ever. It's Raining Men, which I was very excited about. The lip sync runner-up is getting $25K.
Telling Scarlett, I can never hear It's Raining Men and not also think about that stupid song Bodies. Let the bodies hit the floor. Because
The Bodies Hit the Floor song.
Because I read an internet thing one time that said, what if these are actually describing the same event? And it has never left my head. And you know what? It'll never leave yours now either. So you're welcome and sorry. But anyway, this is what I really wanted to talk about, because obviously this is where the most of Mr. Morris appeared. Mr. Rigor Morris appeared in this. And that just feels really unfortunate for both of them, because they both did such a good job. And the way I was worried for anyone who came back if they won, that would ruin their career and ruin their reputation. The way I was worried about that, I am now worried for Ginger. Ginger has nothing to do with that edit. Right. Ginger was not behind the cameras. Ginger was not behind the computers. So before people start, and I'm sure they're already doing it, attacking Ginger, Ginger didn't do nothing but show up and do her job.
True. That's a great point.
Yes, be nice to Ginger, everyone. Do not be mean little internet troll. But no, I thought I thought she was robbed by the edit, of course, but this was just, like, there was some tomfoolery afoot, you know? Like, it just made me so upset to see that, like, these two girls were battling it out, putting it all on the line, and they don't even have a fighting chance.
So, my thoughts on this, I don't even think I'm going to comment on, like, the actual lip sync, more the format. Why do it if you're not going to be fair the one time they did Shea Coulee and Sasha Velour? Like, just do the thing to get the final two. If they even wanted to do the lip sync battle situation to get the final two, and then just let them stand up there, talk to their little baby selves or whatever, and then we was like, great, Ginger, you won. Like, we don't need the lip sync. Like, there's no point to it, because they both did great. They're different kinds of performers. I don't even care about any of that. I just feel like if you're not going to actually decide based on the lip sync, why are we ending it with a lip sync?
Because it was fierceness. It was like really intent, just like wide eye with these crazy eyes. And she was, she was flipping to the song. She was like freaking shablamming. She was like making slug trail all over that stage. But I do feel like Ginger in this one did sort of bring the Pointer Sisters to the stage. It's kind of like, damn, do I have to say that? But I mean, I'm going to give credit where it's due that, that I do think that she did well in this one.
It comes back down to that whole, like, there are two wolves inside of you, and one's Ginger Minj and one is Jorgeous.
Yeah.
Because, Ginger is going to approach any lip sync, I think, kind of in the same way. It's very effective for her, but Ginger, ultimately leans into facial emoting and the storytelling aspect, and it is a great tactic because that gets you really engaged and fully kind of enthralled into this whole picture that Ginger is painting. But then we have Jorgeous, who's giving you kind of all of our new school drag stuff. Everybody likes to see a bitch slam the pussy on the floor, so they just have such different approaches to the song. I did not enjoy how close the camera angles were, the cutting. I felt like literally we would see Jorgeous queue up to do a trick and then not even get to see her land the trick because they literally cut to Ginger doing literally a turn and clap. Yeah. That happened several times.
And there's one, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but is one moment where Ginger does her classic, like, you know, like can't do that. And then she did like the Monet like fake into the like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I feel like that's very classic Ginger as well to sort of like dismiss, like, I don't need to be doing all that, maybe my knees can't make me do that, which, so she's definitely playing to her strengths about like, like I don't need that to win, and you can see that I don't need that sort of thing. So
I agree with what you said, Scarlett. I do think that both of their styles are very different, but this song, I think it called for more of like a comedic element, and I think Ginger did deliver that. So I don't agree that she like technically won it, but I do understand like her drag's aesthetic and what works for her. She knows what works for her. She's been in the gig for how many years? And I do think it is time for a big girl to win. So
yeah, there we go.
What better big girl to win than Ginger Minj?
Hey, that's a great point. That's a great point. So Ginger won, much to, you're either happy, you're sad, you're mad, you're indifferent about it. Ginger, though, is our winner of All Stars 10. And personally, I just want to say a huge congratulations to Ginger and a huge congratulations to every single queen. These queens really, like, we owe them. I mean, they're getting paid, I'm sure now. Go support them, go to their shows, get their merch, because they gave us a great season of TV. What are y'all's final thoughts about Ginger taking the crown?
Congratulations, Ginger Minj. I've loved you forever. It's deserved. This season, whatever people are going to say, they're going to say. You earned it. Take your money. Go spend your money. Have a good time. This season as a whole, I was like, yes, new concept.
I've been saying the whole time how much I love Ginger Minj. I'm very excited that Ginger did win. As I said, I don't think that Ginger deserves hate for the weird stuff that production just forced upon us.
Yeah, of course.
Ginger showed up, she did her job, she did it well. And I think she actually did win.
My girl Ginger won! Yes! Like I said, we need a big girl winner, and I'm glad Ginger was the first big girl to win. But I've loved Ginger since season 7, All Stars 2, All Stars 6, and All Stars 10. Like, it's a great trajectory for her. We all knew she was going to win as soon as she stepped in the workroom. It was no surprise.
She's that girl.
She is that girl. So I'm glad she's that girl for all of us.
She got us, gal.
Yes!
Yeah, she got us.
Honey. But congratulations, Ginger. Well deserved. What a great season you had. And you showed the girls what a comedy queen can do. And look at you now. You're a beauty queen, too.
Ooh.
I think this format started off really, really great with the tournament style bracket thingy. But I also think it kind of went the way of Global All-Stars, where it was a concept I was really, really excited for. And then, like, the tomfoolery of it just kind of ruined my excitement for it as it went on. I was so excited for the semifinals. And then when it was only, like, 3 episodes, I was like, okay. So why do we bring all the girls back then for, like, another bracket, essentially? Or they just wanted to get rid of Mistress because she's causing too much drama? Who knows what reasoning they were thinking. But I really did like the format. I just wish the semifinals had been longer. And honestly, also, congratulations, Ginger. I do think you really deserved it. Yeah.
Congratulations, Ginger. This is so exciting. Also a fan since season 7. Not too soon for a big girl to win. Apparently there's a weight limit for winning, so you have to lose 120 pounds.
Dang. They said there's a weight limit, or you must have a prescription to Ozempic.
Exactly.
Ozempic. Oh, yeah. Rebrand. That's official now.
Exactly. Yeah. So not a moment too soon, But yeah, it's just wonderful to have somebody who just brings so much like joy and light into the world to be the America's Next Drag Superstar. I'm sorry, Hall of Fame, really.
Yeah. She's now in the Hall of Fame.
So it's about time.
Yeah.
10 years. So.
All right, y'all. We can't close out this episode without doing our sips and spits of the week. So first, let's hear the panel's sips of the week.
I volunteered and I was like, wait, what do I want to say? I want to talk about all of them. My sip of this week, I feel like I would be an internet troll if I don't just say, Ginger, you did deserve it. I'm going to give it to you, girl. That's really all I got to say about that.
All right.
My sip of the week, if we're just going to talk about this episode, I'm going to talk about my sip being when Kerri came back in. The wave of relief that I felt.
It's not Bosco's titties.
That is written in my phone as my sip. Honestly,
It's Bosco's titties?
It's Bosco's
Yes!
titties. I
Okay.
can't do both. I don't know, but yeah, I guess I could do both. But just
So my sip of the week was also Bosco's titties. I feel like I wouldn't be a good lesbian if I didn't say so. I also think objectively, like, if you take each lip sync for what it's worth, I think the one that was the best lip sync was Show Me How to Burlesque, and I do think that Bosco won it. So, like, to me, it's like the top ranked performance of the week. You know, even though she didn't win the following one, I do think that she's my sip for that reason.
My sip of the week would have to be the doorbell.
They didn't even know they had a doorbell.
Honey, it's at the door, but Kerri's home. That moment was just funny.
You know what? I'm just going to sip Jorgeous because I think Jorgeous did such an incredible job. Jorgeous has never been one of my absolute favorites, but I've always appreciated them. And I've just really got to think about what a stellar job they did in this episode overall.
I'm going to sip Rue's pink ball gown. Bitch, I loved Rue's gown on the runway. It was just, honestly, the dress of my dreams. Now we got to spit on them. So, seated and sipping panel, who are your spits of the week?
My number one spit of the week is the fact that we did not get a runway with these looks. I
Good
wanted a
call
runway
out.
with these lip sync looks so bad, specifically Lydia's. Like I said, it didn't really look like a lip sync outfit to me, but that would have eaten on the runway.
My spit of the week is them damn Bruno balls. What was the point? Literally, what was the point?
My spit of the week, though I was saying great stuff about them earlier, is actually going to be Irene. I just did not care for this outfit. I did not care for this makeup. I still just think, no, this is not a finale look, girl. Come on.
So my spit of the week is the fact that we had a lip sync smackdown for the crown. They work too hard. They do too much. It shouldn't come down to a 2-minute song to me.
my spit of the week is the fact that we didn't get 1 or 2 more episodes with the semifinalists. Would have loved to see them mingle a little bit more.
So it sounds to me that generally, like, our spit of the week is production.
Production's the big old spit. Yeah, no, I'm also going to do a production-based spit choice, and I'm really glad that whomever brought up the runway, I completely agree with you. My spit is we didn't get to see the other girls, like the other girls from the other brackets that got eliminated. We didn't even get to see them come back for the finale. We didn't get to see them, do a runway. And I'm like, damn, you really did just tell them to go home and stay there.
I
Like,
would love a reunion for sure.
I know, like, y'all couldn't have bought, like, plane tickets just for them to come back and, like, do a final runway with everybody. Because everybody did work really hard, and I would have really liked to just give everybody, like, a final send-off.
I also really would have loved a reunion episode with this season because the tea that Mistress was brewing up on her season, I don't think the other girls were even aware that happened until, like, it was viewed live. That's crazy work to me because, like, she came back to the semifinals and was doing all this, plotting and scheming and was like, I'm HBIC from group 2. And it's like, the other girls didn't know. They had no idea that she was going to be playing this game. And I think a reunion would have been great so they could have been like, actually, she was an evil bitch to us in the first round, too. It's like, she's been playing this game the whole time.
A reunion would have been
reunion.
fabulous for this. Because, I mean, we certainly had enough drama to make that, like, be a really fun thing.
Could have also been quite a relief.
All right.
Showbiz.
I want to thank all of my panelists so much for joining me. I truly could not have done this season of All Stars 10 without all of y'all. It took a village. And I really, really appreciate, seriously, all of your viewpoints and opinions and, I don't know, keeping me together. I also want to thank you, our viewers, for joining us each and every week. we would just be crazy people making videos for nobody if you didn't watch us. So we really, really love and appreciate you all. Please, everybody, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Probably next. No.
Maybe what we're going to talk about.
Raise your glass if you are seated.
Seated and sipping. Ooh.